Okay, this exercise is for the tech plugin for T7, problem solving using Access. Now, what I've done is I'm working on the BookFinder's exercise that's part of your homework for T7, and I've already downloaded the database on my screen. When you download your database, a couple things I want you to notice under your tables objects. Now I want to view all my objects, and I don't want to just see tables. I want to see everything to see if there's anything else going on. So for my object type, I'm going to say all objects. And I can see I only have tables. I don't have any queries. I don't have any reports or any forms. I only have 4 tables. Now, I want to create a query based on my author's information and also on my bindings, books, and categories information. And I want that query to be able to tell me basically books that cost more than $10. And in that query, I'm going to name it author's query. I also want to include first name, last name, title of book, prices, and categories. So I want that to display in my query. The first thing I need to do is I'm going to go to create and my ribbon changes. Then from there I'm going to go to not my query wizard, but I want to go to query design. Now when I do that, I get this show tables dialog box that pops up. And when it pops up, I'm just going to add all my queries to my work area back here because I don't know what fields that are in each one of my tables. So I'm going to just add them all and look at all my tables. Whoops, I clicked on that one twice, so we'll get rid of it in a minute. Books and categories. And then I close my dialog box. Now I accidentally put this one on by mistake, so I'm going to remove the table because I already have an author's table. Okay, so I've got all of my tables. I may not be able to see all my record or all my fields in here, so I may want to make them and resize them a little bit. And you can see they're all joined. So in my query, I want to set up the fields that I want. So I want to have first name in my first category. So I'm going to double click on first name and it puts it down here in my field. Then I want to have last name. Then I'm going to go over here to my title of my books. I want that in my query, and I'm able to do that, move between the different tables because they're all joined. So I've got titles down here, and then I want price. And the last thing I want is category. So I've got all of my fields in my query located here. Now the only thing is, I only want to see books that cost more than $10. So under my criteria, I'm going to have to put greater than 10. So I use my greater than sign on my keyboard, and then I put 10. And I can put 00 for $10. Or just leave it 10. Now, I want to see if my query is going to work before I run it, so I'm actually just going to view it to see if it pulls those records from those tables. So I'm going to go to Design View to see my records to see if I get anything with my query. And I do. I get basically everything that's over $10. It gives me the first name, last name, title, prices that are over $10, and the category, whether it's a novel or maybe a children's book. Okay, and if you need to make your columns a little bit wider, if you can't see them all, you can always drag it to make it a little bit larger. So that's how we do number 1. Now let's look at step number 2. Step number 2. And I need to save this query, so I'm going to go ahead and save it. So I am going to say, do you want to save the query? Yes. And I wanted to save this query as author query, or author's query. And I click OK. So I've got it saved. You'll also see I have now a new object under my queries object. Okay, now I'm going to create a second query, and I want this second query to be called book price query. So again, I go to create, and then I go to query design, and I'm going to add all of my tables again to my work area, and I close it. Now in this query, I basically want to have the title of the book. So I'm going to double click on title, and it puts it down here. and I want to have the price of the book. And what I want to happen in this case is I want it to calculate a 15% increase of the purchase price of each book. Now, I don't have any fields here that I can do that with, so I'm going to have to kind of create my own column heading. So I'm going to put in here 15% increase, and then I'm going to put a colon right after it and a space. Now I'm going to take 15% times the price, and the price is actually, I'm already tracking that in my books table. So then I'm going to put a square bracket, square, and I'm going to do 15 or type price because that's part of my field. And then from there I'm going to multiply it by 15%, but I'm going to have to type 1.15, which is 15%. It doesn't like it when you put the percent symbol in there. And I can actually make this a little wider so y'all can see what I've typed in. Okay, so when I run my query, it's going to give me 15% increase, that word, and then it's going to take the price, which is here, times 15%. Now I'm going to have to check this little box right here because right now it's saying it's not going to show it when I run my query. Alright, and the next thing I need to do is let's take a look at it and see if I get that. So I'm going to go View, Datasheet View. So here's that column that I created. Okay, 15%. You can see it is 15% of what the price was. The only problem is my numbers aren't formatted as currency. I need to format them as currency. So to make them easier to read, I've got to go back to Design View. I go down here and I can right click and go to Properties is one way to do it. And I want to format my price, my new price, as currency. And I've got it as currency. I close this box. Now let's view it again and hopefully it will look a little better. And it does. It's formatted as currency. So that one is finished. I'll show you how to do step 3 and 4 in the next video.